in Japan, the situation, what kind of social support do you get from, how to say, social organization or charity organization, something like that? The first question, how about the population, and second, how about their social support system, if it works well? And another question is, as a say beginner to sociology, to research work, rather beginner, I know that. But in this question, maybe you have a kind of idea how to deal with this problem. It's a very serious social problem in many societies. Do you have any idea how to solve the problem, even from the government or from the NGO, social field? That's my question again.
From the first question, about population.
How about and then I have a question. How about other question from our students?
Yeah,
You
sure.
can collect the question together.
Well, probably for for many of them, I think it's easier to answer the question one by one.
Sure.
Just stop. Yeah.
Thank you. From the first question, according to the survey of government in 2015, there are 1,300 homeless in Tokyo, only Tokyo. But actually, it is said that actual number is 3 times or 2 times than the number. Actually, in Tokyo, the now situation, there are a lot of young homeless people. They cafe or restaurant. If we increase the number of young homeless, it will be 2 times or 3 times. And about the second question, actually we visited NGO, and they are providing a house for the homeless people to take shower, or to charge iPhone, or let them use internet facilities. And about third question, actually we are going to have Tokyo Olympic in 2020, and for that government will help homeless people. But I think we cannot force them to move from the street. So the best way is to provide facilities for homeless people. For example, we can open up the library for them to take shower or to use internet. But actually in Japan, it's not allowed to open the library for homeless because they smell bad and they have a lot of baggage. So I think we have to change that point.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
In your report, you mentioned how people become homeless. There is a reason homeless life is better. Okay, I also heard this kind of thing. Homeless is a kind of, how to say, lifestyle. Yeah, some young people pursue this kind of lifestyle. They gathering together to some illegal things. Most of them, the drug, smoking, I mean, drinking, everything, some other things. Do you think it's true in Japan? I mean, the young generation, some of the member of the young generation, they really pursue this kind of style to become a homeless.
Yes, I think so. The number of homeless is actually decreasing, but actually the young generation of homeless is increasing. So in terms of that number, I think happening. They proceed to live alone and they proceed to live on the street or on a cafe.
Why? Just because of no stress?
Yes, no stress or family problem. And actually, recent 2 years we have the internet. We can use internet by using phone. Then they can connect with others by using SNS. So they don't need to live with family. I think they think like that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's welcome the next group of the research. And I would mention that if the presentation will be within, I think about 15 or 20 minutes is better. Okay. So let's control the time.
可以，后面的我们来的同学可以提问，感兴趣可以交流，他们对你们开心一点是吧？
可以，开始。不是有一个人开始。
Yeah, let's welcome the presentation about the social tax. Welcome.
Hello everyone. It's a great honor to be given this opportunity to give a presentation here. First, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Asako Sugiyama. I'm a freshman at the Cho University. I major in social informatics. Hi. Sorry. My name is Kasumi Osada, and I'm also a freshman at Chuo University, and I major in education. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Rina Takawa. I'm freshman at University too, and I majored in sociology. Nice to meet you.
The theme of our presentation is social factors that affect internet addiction. I'll begin by explaining the reason for choosing this theme. Okay, please raise your hand if you have a smartphone, please. Oh, thank you. As you can see, we believe nearly everyone has a smartphone. You can use smartphone to access the internet. But the internet is causing us a lot of unexpected trouble. So many smartphone users to seem getting addicted to suffering the internet. So internet is becoming a social problem in Japan and abroad. There are many past studies about internet addiction. In considering internet addiction, most past studies have focused the process of leading up to addiction. I'll introduce typical past studies. This past diagram shows seven past psychological aspects of internet addiction. I explained that in detail. As you know, it is a great advantage to using a smartphone. It is a lot of fun to suffering the internet. And you will get a great satisfaction from using a smartphone. And then you will find yourself deeply absorbed in suffering the internet, and you will end up being unable to pass a day without suffering the internet at the time. And you will keep on suffering the internet. As a result, you will frequently doze off during the class, and your grades will falling badly, and you will get deeply absorbed in suffering the internet, and you will spend too much money online shopping and computer games and the like. Next, you can make friends with someone who you have never met. And finally, you will get deeply absorbed in suffering the internet, so will make it impossible for you to tell a virtual from real.
But these studies have a problem. The problem is it's only focused on personal factors like psychological aspects. Is it true that only personal factors make internet addiction? No. We found social factors as well. For example, we'll speak our real experience from now.
I'll talk about my experience. I was given my smartphone when I was a high school student. In my high school days, using a mobile phone at school was banned by the school rules. And using a smartphone at home was also restricted by my parents. I was allowed to use my smartphone only for communication purposes. So, now I can use my smartphone freely whenever I like, but I was not used to using my smartphone for a very long time, so I feel that I'm not addicted to the internet.
Next, I told about my experience. I got my smartphone when I was high school student too. I could bring my smartphone to school and use it during class time. So almost all students have smartphone, and we use it regularly to communicate each other through SNS. And my parents let me use my smartphone without restriction. So now I use smartphone for a very long time, and I often spend whole day using smartphone. I feel it's that I am little bit addicted to the internet.
As you can see from these two examples, there are possibilities that not only personal factors but social factors like strict school rules and strict parents may affect the degree of internet addiction. The aim of this study is to see what kind of social factors causes internet addiction. So we took following methods and collected data. We interviewed 8 people, 3 men and 5 women. The average age was 20. The interview took between 60 to 90 minutes. We asked such as questions. When do you think your internet addiction started? How does your internet addiction affect your life? When did you get your smartphone? With this data, we analyzed the results and we found 3 types of internet addiction. First, SNS type addiction. 2, TV, radio type addiction. 3, device type addiction. Next, we'll explain in order.
First, I'll explain SNS type addiction. 3 persons depend on internet as a means of communication. As you can see, they use Facebook, Twitter, and Japanese WeChat, Line. We call them SNS type addiction because they use apps as a communication tool to communicate with each other through communication each other when they got their smartphone. For example, I'll explain a detail from Miss B's story. She communicates with her friend over line, when since she got her smartphone when she was high school student. After she made friends through SNS and she used Twitter to contact them. And now she used Twitter longer time than before. Why do they much SNS? Why do they use much SNS? It is because in their community, almost all people have smartphones, so they use it regularly to communicate with each other through SNS. For this, SNS type addiction community, for example, family and school. Next.
Secondly, I'll explain TV radio type addiction. Four people were grouped into this type. They mainly use device to watch and listen to YouTube, as if they watch TV program or listen to radio. As you can see, they have 3 characteristics. First, all like YouTube. Second, all have a habit of watching TV or listening to radio. Third, they are only child or both parents are working outside. As an example, I'll talk about Mr. E. He had a habit of listening to radio while doing something else in junior high school. Also, he had a habit of watching anime while drying his hair in high school. After he went to university, he began to study abroad, and he missed Japanese so much that he started to watching Japanese comedy videos to listen to Japanese. Sometimes he spends the whole day watching videos on a day off. In conclusion, there are two triggers to use video content for a long time. One is only child or both parents are working outside. Inevitably, children spend long time alone. The other is they are used to doing something while watching TV or listening to radio. From this, TV radio program is committed home environment and habit. Next.
Finally, I will explain device type addiction. Device type addiction is addiction of people who surf the internet for no specific purposes. They surf the internet just to kill time. They are so dependent on the internet so that they feel uneasy when they are not using their device. 1 out of 8 respondents falls into this category. I'll talk about the case of Miss H in detail. She was given a smartphone when she was 5th grade in primary school, and but most of her friends at elementary school had no mobile phone. So she had to use her smartphone just to kill time, not for social purposes. But in high school, she's used for social network purposes. Because most of her friends have a smartphone. She used her smartphone even during class to get in touch with her friends. Unlike the two cases mentioned earlier, the apps she used were not limited to one. She was dependent on her smartphone itself. Her too much dependence on her smartphone may be attributed to her the long years of possessing a smartphone. The fact that she has lived in a society with widespread use of mobile phones lead up to a dependently addicted to the smartphone.
We would like to come back aim of our study. The question, what kind of social factor affect the internet addiction? We found 3 types of internet addiction, and each type has different social factor that is their addiction. Social type addiction was affected by community, for example, family and school. Second, TV radio type addiction was affected by home environment and habit. Finally, device type addiction was affected by society with widespread use of mobile phones. Conclusion. Through our study, we found 2 things. First, there are 3 types of internet addiction. Second, each type has different social factors. First study had focused personal aspects, and many researchers presented from field to psychology, but we believe sociology is just the right field to work out internet addiction. we hope for many research on internet addiction from field to sociology. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for the presentation. And that's our questions. Yeah, and our Dr. Mari.
Welcome to Shanghai University. Your research is very interesting and impressive to me. I think it's very good research to freshman university students. I have two questions. First one is about your definition. You said you study a social phenomenon named network addiction. You mean I don't know some normal use of the smartphone is addiction too? Like I have some problem. I should use the internet or Google to search something. You know, in our times of networks, internet times, many knowledges are stored in the internet. So if I have some normal needs, I need to search some knowledges in the internet. Is this addicted? I don't know. I think you should have a definition first in your presentation. Second question is, I think it is not a question, but a suggestion. I think it's a very interesting classification to classify the people into three groups, like the SNS, like the device type. I think in your future learning, when you come into the graduate school, when you're learning some statistical techniques, you can use the largest samples to test your three ideas, your group classification, to use the largest sample to testify your ideas. Okay, comment. The first one is definition. How do you define your network addiction?
I answered your first question. In field of psychology, they discussed definition on internet addiction, and they made sorry. They made definition. They added more data. So clearly this definition is not to all internet addiction. So can't tell you clearly definition, sorry. But field to psychology, nearly future definition, they will make definition, clear definition. Secondly, your question, we introduce, thank you.
Is that a question from